What happens when the god of thunder faces a giant whose very body is made of stone? The tale begins not with a clash of weapons, but with a wager. In Jotunheim, land of the giants, Hrungnir, the mightiest of the Jötnar, born of darkness and winter, meets a traveler whose horse strides over land, water and air. He does not recognize that the rider is Odin himself, riding his 8-legged steed, Sleipnir. Stung by pride, Hrungnir boasts that his own horse, Gullfaxi Golden Mane, can outrun any mount. Odin bets his head on Sleipnir's speed. With thunderous hooves, the race begins, and the pair tear across rivers and hills. In his fury, Hrungnir fails to see that he is being led towards the gates of Asgard. Before he knows it, the giant has followed Odin into the gods' realm. There, seemingly amused, the gods invite the exhausted giant inside for a drink. The contest of speed turns into a contest of hospitality and patience, and the seeds of a greater conflict are sown. Inside Valhalla, Hrungnir revels in the gods' ale. Strong drink fans his arrogance. He boasts that he will kill all the gods, except the fair Freya and Thor's wife Sif, who he will carry off to Jotunheim. He swears that he will tear down Asgard's walls and haul the entire hall of Valhalla back to the land of giants. Amid laughter and gritted teeth, the Aesir endure his threats because of the ancient rule of hospitality. When Hrungnir finally claims he will drink every drop of the god's ale, patience snaps. The gods summon Thor. He storms into the hall, eyes blazing, hammer in hand, ready to strike down the drunken intruder. Hrungnir, still unarmed, accuses Thor of cowardice. He challenges the thunder god to meet him in a formal duel, an offer no warrior could refuse. Thor accepts. The stage is set for a confrontation unlike any other, one that will pit divine strength against the impenetrable stone of a giant's body. News of the duel spreads quickly. Hrungnir returns to his kin, and the giants, fearing for their champion, decide to tip the scales. At Greyjotunagard, they fashion a monstrous companion for him, a clay giant called Mökkurkálfi. This artificial titan towers 9 miles high and is 3 miles across the shoulders. The giants cannot find a heart large enough for such a being, so they take one from a mare. The mare's heart beats timidly within its chest, and the giant is terrified. Beside Mökkurkálfi stands Hrungnir, whose own heart and head are made of stone, whose spiked heart is said to have inspired the triple-knotted symbol found on old stones. He carries a wide stone shield and a massive whetstone as his weapon. When Thor and his quick-witted servant Thjálfi arrive at the appointed field, Thjálfi uses cunning to undermine Hrungnir's defense. He runs up and shouts that Thor is charging from below. Hrungnir, fearing an attack from beneath, places his shield on the ground and stands on it. In that moment, Thor hurls his hammer, and the duel truly begins. If you're enjoying this tale of gods and giants, remember to like the video and subscribe to the channel. It's the best way to support more stories like this. Thunder rolls as Mjolnir arcs through the air. Hrungnir answers by heaving his whetstone with both hands. The weapons collide in mid-flight. The whetstone explodes. One piece becomes the origin of all flint in Midgard. Another slams into Thor's forehead. For the first time, the god of thunder is staggered. The shock drives him to the ground as blood runs from his brow. Yet Mjolnir completes its path and smashes into Hrungnir's head, shattering the giant's stone skull. The mighty Jotun falls forward onto Thor. His enormous leg pins the thunder god by the throat. All around, the ground shakes and the sky crackles. Thjálfi seizes the moment to attack the clay giant. Mökkurkálfi trembles and, in one comical moment of cowardice, wets himself. The servant hacks at his clay legs and fells the artificial monster without glory. But Thor lies motionless beneath Hrungnir's weight, the shard of Whetstone lodged deep in his brow. Even with the giant defeated, the god's life hangs by a thread. The gods rush to their fallen champion. One after another, they strain to lift the dead giant's leg from Thor's neck, but not even the combined strength of the Aesir suffices. Then, astonishingly, a new voice pipes up. Magni, Thor's son by the giantess Saksa, arrives. In the ancient tale, he is only 3 nights old, yet he already embodies his father's power. Without ceremony, the infant hero wraps his small hands around Hrungnir's leg and heaves it aside. Thor rises, wiping blood from his eyes, and embraces his son. As a reward for this impossible deed, he gifts Magni the swift horse Gulfaxi, which Hrungnir had boasted about. Odin grumbles that such a magnificent animal should belong to him, but Thor insists that the boy who saved his life deserves the giant steed. In this moment of familial pride, the thunder god pays little mind to the shard still lodged in his skull. Back in Asgard, the pain from the Whetstone fragment refuses to subside. Thor sends for Groa, a wise woman whose charms might draw the stone out. Groa sings over the wound, and the shard begins to move. To encourage her, Thor tells a story meant to lift her spirits. He says that her missing husband, Aurvandil, is alive. Thor once carried Aurvandil across a freezing river in an iron basket. During the crossing, one of Aurvandil's toes protruded and froze. Thor broke it off and threw it into the sky where it gleams as a star. Overjoyed by the news that her husband will soon return, Groa forgets the spell she was chanting. The Whetstone fragment stops moving and remains embedded in Thor's brow. For the rest of his days, until his death at Ragnarök, the god of thunder carries that piece of flint. From then on, Norse farmers take care never to drop or throw a whetstone, lest they make the shard in Thor's head shift and cause him pain. Thor's duel with Hrungnir is more than a tale of brawn. It is a story of pride, hospitality, and the interplay between courage and cunning. A boastful wager draws a giant into the realm of gods, and the rules of hospitality force the Aesir to endure his insults until violence becomes inevitable. The giants respond to Thor's might with deceit, crafting a clay monstrosity whose heart is too timid to fight. In the end, strength triumphs, but not without cost. Thor survives only because of Magni's infant strength and Groa's healing songs. He carries a scar that never heals, a reminder that even the mightiest gods bear wounds. The story warns against reckless boasting and disrespecting hospitality, and it highlights that even gods depend on help from those around them. It is a testament to the Norse idea that no one, not even the Thunderer himself, is invincible.